What would drive a retired schoolteacher, a war veteran, or even a Wall Street lawyer to leave behind the comforts of America and start over, on a tropical island halfway across the globe? Not for a vacation, not for a summer break, but to buy land, settle down, and call the Philippines their new forever home. This isn't just about saving money or chasing palm trees. It's a quiet revolution, thousands of Americans investing their futures in a country most once saw only in postcards. Behind every purchase is a deeply personal story, of love, of loss, of searching for peace, and sometimes, escaping a system back home that no longer feels like home. From beachfront condos bought for the price of a U.S. car to legal workarounds that challenge old colonial laws, this story goes deeper than real estate. It's about rediscovery, resilience, and what it truly means to start fresh, even at 60. So, why are so many Americans packing up and buying land in the Philippines? Stay with us, because the answers may surprise you, stir your heart, and maybe even change the way you see retirement forever. Number 1. Affordable living and retirement savings. The biggest reason many Americans are drawn to the Philippines is financial. For those living on fixed incomes, every dollar goes much further. Housing, groceries, and even healthcare cost a fraction of what they do in the United States. One retired expat, for instance, pays just around $218 a month for a 3-bedroom house in Cavite. Compare that to over $3,400 for something similar in Boston. Experts estimate that a single person can live comfortably in the Philippines on just $1,500 to $2,000 a month, well below the average cost of living in the U.S. And these aren't just rough guesses. Global data platforms show that overall living expenses in the Philippines are more than 50% lower, with rent alone being over 80% cheaper. Imagine the scene: a peaceful expat home, sunlight pouring through palm trees, a local market with fresh produce priced in pesos. John and Carol, after decades of cutting costs in America, finally found peace on a quiet island. Their modest retirement savings didn't just buy them a home, they bought 2 vacation villas. That kind of life was once unimaginable back home. It's no wonder thousands of Americans are now quietly moving their retirement savings into Philippine real estate. The numbers speak volumes. Last year alone, more than 5 million tourists visited the Philippines, and nearly 1 million of them were from the United States. Curiosity is turning into commitment. For many, this is not just a getaway. It's the start of something permanent. Number 2. Tropical climate and natural beauty. Beyond the financial benefits, it's the natural beauty that truly wins hearts. The Philippines is a tropical paradise with warm sunshine all year round, crystal clear waters, and beaches that look like postcards come to life. For retirees used to gray skies and freezing winters, waking up to golden sunrises and the sound of waves is nothing short of a dream. Imagine a retired couple swaying gently on a hammock, watching the sun dip below the horizon on a quiet island. Popular destinations like Boracay, Palawan, and Siargao offer stunning coastlines, while the mountains of Banao and Sagada hide centuries-old rice terraces that seem untouched by time. Tourism surged more than 120% in revenue last year, and for many visitors, one trip turned into a plan to stay. Take the story of Stephen Johnson, a U.S. veteran who moved from Boston in 2018. What drew him wasn't just the beaches, it was the daily joy of 80-degree afternoons and the warm, fragrant breeze. He says, "The sun just gives you life." Even in cities like Manila or Cebu, you'll find modern malls and hospitals side by side with birdsong and bamboo groves. For many, the Philippines offers not just beauty, but a feeling of being truly alive. Number 3. Thriving economy and real estate growth. The Philippines is quickly emerging as one of Asia's most promising economies. Over the past decade, it has maintained strong growth between 5 to 7% annually, outpacing many neighboring countries. In 2024, the nation posted a solid 5.8% GDP increase, and projections for 2025 point even higher, around 6.3%. This isn't just good news for economists. For real estate investors, it signals a market with long-term potential. Across Manila and Cebu, cranes dot the skyline as new highways, tech parks, and urban districts take shape. the country's growing business process outsourcing industry, renewable energy sector, and digital economy are helping fuel a rising middle class with increasing demand for land and housing. This momentum is already turning into opportunity. According to the ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office, the Philippines is set to be the second fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia. For Americans looking to invest, this means more than just charts, it means real gains. One investor shared how beachfront land in Panglao, once $10 per square meter, now fetches $30. In U.S. markets, such rapid appreciation is rare. With strong consumer spending, expanding infrastructure, and solid rent yields in tourist hotspots, the Philippines is becoming a global real estate frontier, affordable today, but not for long. Number 4. Retirement visas and residency perks. One of the most attractive reasons Americans choose the Philippines is the country's warm welcome to retirees. Through the Special Resident Retirees Visa, known as the SRRV, foreigners over the age of 50 can apply for long-term residency by simply depositing a modest amount in a local bank. For many, that figure is as low as $10,000. Once approved, the visa offers a range of benefits: indefinite stay, multiple re-entries, exemption from exit clearances, and even tax breaks on pensions. As of now, over 73,000 foreigners hold this visa, many of them Americans looking for a peaceful place to retire. One U.S. Navy veteran described it simply: "I made the deposit, and now I live here full-time with my Filipino wife, and no plans to return." The numbers tell a bigger story. Official reports show that more than 64,000 foreign retirees now call the Philippines home. Among them are teachers, engineers, and former military personnel who have traded Medicare paperwork for local clinics and a slower pace of life. Some settle in vibrant expat communities, where book clubs, beach outings, and community dinners are part of everyday life. One couple, and Tom from New York, said their $50,000 deposit didn't just buy a visa, it gave them a second chance at happiness. With easy processes and growing infrastructure, the SRRV offers something rare in today's world: a smooth path to starting over. Number 5. Filipino roots and community ties. For many Americans, the decision to move to the Philippines is more than financial, it's personal. The United States is home to over 4 million Filipino Americans, forming one of the largest Asian communities in the country. Many still have close family or deep friendships back in the Philippines, so when they buy land or settle down, they're not just moving to a new country, they're coming home. Picture a quiet afternoon, an American retiree sitting in a Filipino household, children playing in the yard, Tagalog music on the radio. It's a familiar warmth that makes the transition feel less like a leap and more like a return. The numbers reflect that connection. Over 70% of Filipino Americans say they hold a positive view of the Philippines, and nearly 40% speak a local language. For newcomers, that cultural bridge makes a big difference. One retiree shared, "I met my wife in California, but when I stepped onto Philippine soil, I knew I belonged." From Sunday mass invitations to shared meals and neighborly gestures, the hospitality here runs deep. As many expats put it, they didn't just find affordable land, they found community. And in a world that often feels disconnected, that sense of belonging is priceless. Number 6. English and Western-style convenience. For Americans relocating overseas, language is often the biggest hurdle, but in the Philippines, it's barely a bump. English is not only widely spoken, it's one of the country's official languages and is taught in schools from an early age. In fact, international surveys rank the Philippines among the top nations for English proficiency, second in Asia only to Singapore. Whether you're at a hospital, reading road signs, or ordering coffee at a local cafe, communication feels easy and natural. Many expats say they're surprised by how comfortable daily life becomes so quickly. Watching Netflix, reading menus, or chatting with neighbors doesn't require translation, it just feels familiar. Modern conveniences only add to that comfort. In cities like Manila or Cebu, you'll find U.S.-style supermarkets, familiar fast food chains, and high-speed internet powered by nationwide 5G coverage. Many law firms even offer services tailored to American clients. and digital banking makes life seamless. One American investor joked, "I thought I'd struggle with local paperwork, but I figured out condo rules and bubble tea menus in a week, because everything's in English." Whether it's getting groceries or sending your child to an international school, the Philippines makes adjusting to expat life refreshingly easy. It's a place where you don't need to start from scratch, you just start living. Number 7. Ownership options and legal workarounds. It's true, under current Philippine law, foreigners cannot directly own land, but that hasn't stopped Americans from finding smart, legal ways to invest. The rules allow non-citizens to own condominium units, as long as foreign ownership doesn't exceed 40% of the total building. Land leases are also allowed, up to 50 years, with a possible 25-year extension. Some investors go a step further, forming Philippine-registered corporations where Filipino citizens hold at least 60% of shares. And for former Filipino citizens, Republic Act 9225 allows them to reacquire their nationality and own land like any local. In real life, these options are being used every day. Some expats marry Filipino partners and register property under their spouse's name, with clear contracts to protect both sides. Others buy luxury condos in coastal cities like Cebu or Davao. One retiree from Ohio, Mark, followed the process carefully and now owns a penthouse overlooking the sea. Another investor formed a joint venture with a Filipino friend to buy farmland in Mindanao. He says, "It took patience, but now, even at 70, I walk land that's legally ours. The laws may seem complex, but they're navigable with expert guidance, local partnerships, and a bit of planning. Americans are building real futures here." Number 8. Infrastructure and connectivity. For long-term residents, convenience matters, and the Philippines is catching up fast. Over the past decade, the government has invested heavily in transportation and utilities. New international airports, modern bridges, and even the country's first subway line in Manila are all part of a national transformation. In 2024 and 2025 alone, the government allocated around $26 billion each year, more than 5% of the nation's GDP, for roads, rail systems, and infrastructure upgrades. Gone are the days of slow ferries and isolated towns. Today, sleek ferries, expanded highways, and soon-to-launch high-speed rail make it easier than ever to reach remote provinces. With over 180 major projects in motion, from Mindanao to Luzon, the country is becoming more connected than ever before. But infrastructure doesn't stop at roads. Digital connectivity is also improving rapidly. A nationwide broadband expansion, backed by the World Bank, is bringing high-speed internet to even rural areas. For American retirees and remote workers, this means staying connected to family, managing U.S. bank accounts, and handling taxes online, all from a beach house in Palawan or a condo in Cebu. One retiree in Puerto Princesa says his weekly video calls with grandchildren feel just like home. With fast flights, stable internet, and smart infrastructure, the Philippines is no longer a distant frontier, it's becoming a modern, livable hub for global citizens. Number 9. Healthcare and community amenities. Healthcare is often a concern when retiring abroad, but in the Philippines, many expats are pleasantly surprised. Private hospitals in major cities like Manila, Cebu, and Davao are modern, well-equipped, and often staffed by English-speaking doctors trained in the US or Europe. One American veteran, Stephen Johnson, praises the Veterans Health Administration Clinic in Manila, where he receives physical therapy for chronic back pain. He says the care he gets here is more personal and more effective than anything he had back in Boston. Filipino nurses, he adds, have a kindness and warmth that makes all the difference. And the cost? A typical medical checkup that might cost $2,000 in New York often runs just a few hundred here. Beyond healthcare, everyday life comes with all the comforts of home. Expats shop in clean, air-conditioned malls filled with both American and Asian brands. Cities are rolling out new bike lanes, clean water projects, and tourist-friendly services like English-speaking police, retirement villages, expat clubs, and even English-language cultural events are thriving. One teacher who relocated to Cebu said it best, It's the little things, seeing familiar products, meeting fellow Americans, and getting good care without breaking the bank. That's when this place starts to feel like home. Number 10. The human stories, home and reflection. In the end, the most powerful reason Americans choose the Philippines isn't found in data or policy, it's something deeper. For many, this country feels like it called them home. As we weave together everything shared so far, the final story turns personal. Imagine the gentle sweep of a beach at sunset, an American retiree embraced by a Filipino family at the airport, children racing through coconut groves. These are not just scenic images, they are the backdrop of new beginnings. For thousands of Americans, buying land here is part of a far more intimate journey of rediscovery, healing, and peace. Stephen Johnson, the veteran we've followed, says it simply: "I never plan to go back." It wasn't just the warm climate or affordability that won him over, it was the slower pace, the gentle interactions, and the feeling of waking up with purpose. Others share similar stories. A grandmother who came to be near her grandkids says she stayed because their joy exploring island life reminded her how to live. A former Wall Street lawyer tells how rooster calls now wake him, replacing Manhattan's sirens, and he wouldn't trade that peace for anything. Because here, it's not just about owning property, it's about mangoes shared by neighbors, banka boat rides when boredom hits, and quiet sunsets that feel like a second chance. For many, the Philippines isn't an escape. It's home, reimagined, rediscovered, and finally embraced. So whether it's the warmth of the people, the beauty of the islands, or the dream of a simpler, more meaningful life, one thing is clear: the Philippines is no longer just a destination. For thousands of Americans, it's becoming a new beginning. If this journey moved you, if it made you think about life beyond borders, or even just inspired a dream, then don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to Discovering the Earth for more powerful stories from around the world. Leave a like if you felt connected to any part of this journey. And tell us in the comments, could you imagine building a life across the ocean? Where would you go? And why? Because the world is full of second chances, and sometimes, they begin where you least expect.